Artistic Gamer 7 and welcome back to another speed build here on the channel. This is actually my first build since getting Eco Living, and I didn't get it right when it came out, but I got it very shortly after. Part of my mentality when a new expansion was released, I'm not gonna lie, because honestly when it came to the trailers, a lot of the expansions were looking like super amazing, and then I felt like I was sort of let down in a way with a lot of the expansions. Like, they wasn't necessarily bad, but they wasn't what I was expecting and things like that. So I've been like trying not to judge stuff off the trailer so much, like not in a sense of like, oh, this looks amazing, that means the game's gonna be amazing. I'm not basing it off of that. If the trailer itself looks great, I just don't automatically go into thinking that the game itself is going to be great, which sounds sort of bad, but that's just how it was. And honestly, when the very first time, I was still slightly like getting back in the swing of things, still slightly a little bit out of touch when Eco Living was coming about, and for the most part it didn't seem like that exciting to me. But what little bit I've been seeing of it now, and like from other people, it actually does seem pretty interesting. I don't know how long it will last being interesting. I haven't actually personally got to fully like play with all the mechanics. The most I've done is with this build and buy actually, but I didn't just use Eco Living stuff because that's just not how I usually build, doing a bunch of different things. But as you can probably tell by the title of this, it is industrial sort of meets eco. So basically I was going in with the mindset that this was a couple that came together and they actually had 2 kids, but the father originally was like, he wasn't necessarily caring about like the eco footprint or any of that stuff, and he was low budget, so he was actually sort of living in like this stack of storage containers and things like that. And then once he started taking off in some of his business, and so did his girlfriend, and they once they moved in together, she started adding more eco stuff to it. They actually ended up building like this part attached to it. So they still like kept the shipping containers, because technically in my thought process it was like these shipping containers were no longer being in use, and they were just gonna sit and be in the way and be clutter and potentially like, you know, not be in like a good place. So reusing them for a different purpose, that still sort of met her like eco thought process. At least they are being used. So, and also it was also like a little reminder of how he started off, because he started off like, you know, a little bit on the side of struggling and all that stuff. So it was connecting the two worlds together in a way. With the shipping container side, I didn't put as much stuff in it. A lot of like the maker stuff, so like the fabrication things, the candle making process, and like that, I forget what it's called right now, but it's like you recycle stuff in it and it comes out with like these little cubes and stuff. All that stuff is mainly in the shipping containers. So basically those have been left as almost more of a working space, but they also are the entrance technically to the home. You have to go through the shipping containers to eventually get to the house, and to get to the house is technically a ladder. You could easily probably change it to stairs, because if you were to download this yourself, because there's not a whole lot going on in the shipping containers anymore. At one point he lived in them and he needed very minimal stuff to sort of live in, because one, he couldn't afford it, but also just in general he didn't have a lot of stuff. He didn't have a family. It was just him. It didn't matter that the shipping containers didn't provide as much room. But now that it's more of them, they have a family, they have a lot of other stuff going on. That's why the attached building is there, and that building is more of a green eco focus, while the shipping containers are still the industrial part of it. But yeah, so the shipping containers are more of like a working space, while the other part is more of like an actual house. So that's where they would actually eventually have guests entertained, and that's where they live. And then the other half is more of where they work and things like that. So like working at home and making money off of that. And this was definitely a different build, and I do like how it turned out, but it's definitely strange to some degree. It definitely won't be for everyone. I will say, like, with like trying to focus on like the green stuff, Like with the industrial, I was kind of trying to keep in mind with industrial stuff. With the one side, I was trying to keep in mind the green stuff. Eventually, when I start like putting some furniture and stuff in, I don't know if I pay attention to it as much, and I can't remember, does the certain furnitures and things like that go towards your eco footprint or not? Not sure. I also don't, I haven't, like I said, I haven't played around with it so much in live mode, so I'm not 100% sure on which side wins more for this lot, the industrial or the eco side. Part of me wants to say the eco side would probably win out, because I feel like in the long run I had more eco green friendly stuff than I did industrial stuff, but I'm still not 100% sure which one is winning. Also, to note, this is part 1 because I could not speed it up enough to make it into one part without the video getting too long. I try not to make my videos over like 35 minutes, especially depending on what it is. I used to be a little bit more lenient with Legend of Zelda and Tales of Berseria, but even them, I'm trying to keep them under 35 minutes. Because sometimes you don't have time to sit down and watch a really long time. But if you think that when it comes to builds, you don't mind it going over certain times, let me know down in the comments below, like, what suggested times you would say for speed builds and things like this. This one was going to be heading into, like, the 40-minute zone with the whole thing plus the screenshots at the end. So I would probably, either way, would have half this one. But, also let me know when it comes to the motion, because I feel like at one point I was pretty aware of the motion and got pretty good with the emotion of not making it crazy erratic for when I sped it up, but now I'm not 100% sure, so let me know that down in the comments as well, if you think that the motion is not too bad, or if I should try to be more aware of that in the future when I do some speed builds and things like that. Now, getting back into the build itself, I am mostly working on the outside part at this, but we will get to the inside parts into this video. I'll start with like the industrial side here with the shipping containers and like putting stuff inside of them. This house does have 3 bathrooms in it. It has one in the shipping container side and 2 in the actual house. Those are going to be, one is the master bath and one is like, and the other 2 are just bathrooms in general. I think I cut all the bathrooms out. I actually forgot to even record the master bathroom one, and I actually did make some changes to the master bedroom, not like any significant changes. I added stuff because I realized I forgot the lamps on the tables and like the computer on the desk. So I added very minor things into the bedroom that is not shown in the speed build process, but the bedroom's not till the very end, so you won't see that until part 2. This part does focus a whole lot on the actual structure of the build and the outside, with heading into the inside. The screenshots are also going to be in part 2, so make sure to keep an eye out for part 2 if you are interested in seeing this finished product and the screenshots, which are like little still images that are easier to sort of see. If you want to download this build after watching this video, it is going to be up on my gallery, which is Artistic Gamer 7. The lot is going to be called Industrial Meets Eco. It should be up there by the time that this video goes live, so even if you go and wait until watch the second part of this speed build, it should be up. I will say this in every single video, I tend to be a forgetful person. And the way that I do my editing is I usually schedule the videos a day or 2 in advance, sometimes more than that even, depending on like what is coming up and how much I've done editing. Right now my editing process is not behind, but going slow, so usually it's only a day or 2 before I actually post the video that I have uploaded it to schedule it. Sometimes not even that, but I'm trying to get to the point in the future, just because the way that I am as a person, scheduling things is a little bit better, because I tend to be a very forgetful person at times. And that is why I will say, if you cannot find any of my builds on my gallery that you watch on one of the speed build videos and you want to download it, please let me know, whether it's down in the comments or over on my Twitter. Please let me know that you cannot find it, and I will help try to look locate it, just in case for some reason it's just not showing up or something's going off, or check to make sure that I actually even remember to upload it. So, yeah, it should be up, but I will never promise that because I am very, very forgetful person. I also do the little share build through like a tweet thing from the gallery. I usually tend to do like 3 or 4 builds that have like I've posted and it made it go like on my gallery. I usually wait to do like 2 or 3 of them at a time for some reason. I don't even have an actual reason why I do that, but I tend to post 2 or 3 of them on my Twitter together, like one after the other when they're, so that's also another way that you can actually see them and get an easy way to be reminded about them, or like see which ones maybe you've missed a speed build of, or just forgot to download it but you really wanted to download it. I don't know. Me as a person, I know how forgetful I am, so I know that there's probably other people as well. Now, getting back to the build here, obviously we are still outside, and I was trying to put quite a few plants outside, but I also put like rocks on the corner. One of the things that I do get annoyed with when it comes to building sometimes, especially in these areas that are not surrounded by grass, like the lots that are not surrounded by like grass, there is not a option to replicate the concrete or stonework or whatever it is that is surrounding the whole entire lot to make it seem like maybe you just built your house on that same lot. And that's why, like, I didn't want to do the whole green lot, like, have the whole section green, because it just didn't make sense to me. I tried to get the closest, like, color of concrete or whatever that I could put on the lot, and then it was like she brought in some like turf to put in the sections, like some dirt and some grass and things like that in certain sections where the pool's at, and underneath it to still have some life, like green, like plant life and things like that, but at the same time, you know, it's in an area that you wouldn't have just a random rectangle of grass, I wouldn't think. So that's how I did that, and I really wish that there was always an option, whether it was like in flooring or in the like little spray paint thing for the terrain. One of those have the option to replicate almost the exact same, well, the actual exact same stonework or whatever they use concrete around these type of lots that are surrounded by stuff. When it comes to the grass ones, you can get away with it pretty easy, even if for some reason the grass is not the exact same. You can tend to like do patches of grass work and just make it seem like that grass in your yard is just a little bit different, but at the same time the same, if you get what I'm saying. So there's ways to get around that with the grass and stuff that you can't do with concrete or stonework. Like it looks out of place sometimes. That's one thing I also struggle with some of my community lots when they're on those things that are something that's not naturally grass, like lots that are not naturally grass. It's hard to try to get it as close as possible or make it look sort of more natural, or like that was how it was intended, but I try my best. It obviously is not the same pattern of concrete or whatever that is supposed to be, but this was the closest thing that I can find that at least like it didn't look completely out of place being there. As for other things going on in the outside section, I definitely wanted, like, to add, like, planters, because there was some new different types of planters, and also, like, trying to sustain yourself on your own. I did use a clothesline, because I figured, though they do have some electronic stuff going throughout the house, that they would try to save where they could when it came to doing something. So the line for the laundry instead of the washer and dryer, which I think trying to be as eco-friendly as possible is good, but I really don't know how I could not stand not having a washer and dryer. I'm sorry, but that's just me. But yeah, I thought in this case it would make sense to not have the washer and dryer and have the clothesline instead. And I actually like the laundry day stuff pack as one of my favorite stuff packs. So I tend to always use it because I like it adds a little bit of that realism, and it gives something for like Sims to sort of keep track of and do. So I do like the fact that that is a thing. So I tend to always try to put laundry stuff in all of my builds. There is power and water things out there. I think I was able to look. I did remember to look at that. I think for the most part the water consumption didn't seem like it was going to be too bad. The power looks like I can add a little bit more, maybe, if I remember correctly. But it actually still put a pretty big deduction on the bills for this lot. But you can easily add more power related objects or like water saving objects as well to this build if you in the end did download this and use it in your own build and was trying to save some money here and there. You also see me adding things that look like barrels on the outside. I think I eventually add some like like a tire or a stack of tires. But that's because on the one side I was still trying to go as much of the like industrial type theme as I possibly could. That's why the generators are back there. That's why the water thing's back there. Because they don't look like the prettiest of things, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I just try to go with this certain look in around the shipping containers, and then a different look into the other part of the building. Now, with talking about certain packs also, when I was mentioning Laundry Day, if you notice, like, if you don't have all the packs like I do, I don't turn off any of my packs, and the only pack that I go out of my way to try to 100% make sure that I don't put anything in it for a build that's going to go up on the gallery is my first pet stuff. Sometimes I slip up and I put in one thing from that pack in without noticing, but I try pretty hard not to put anything from that pack in there, but sometimes it does happen. But the other packs, per se, I don't always pay attention to them. I do try to be somewhat aware when I start using certain packs more often, and I try not to add too many packs in a build. So if I notice, like, I've gotten pretty far in the build and I haven't used anything from vampires or city living or whatever it may be, I try to stay away from that pack once I get so far into the build and I don't think I've used anything from it. So I do try to sort of be aware of what packs are in these builds, but at the same time I don't fully pay attention, not gonna lie. But if you do not have all of these packs and you want to download this, you can, in the gallery, it will actually pop up which packs are in the build. You can click on the individual packs, and then there's a little tab that says like items used or something along those lines. You can actually see which items it is, see how easy it would be to replace for you, so you can either replace stuff that maybe if you have some custom content build stuff that you can easily replace it with that stuff, or if there's something from a pack that you know that you can use in its place instead and still work, then that is an easy way to try to decide whether or not it's going to impact you too much if a certain pack that you don't have is in the build, but you can still possibly use it. Now, as this video is going to be starting to wrap up soon, because it's getting close to the end, I'll be finishing off the storage container, the shipping container parts of this, which, like I said, was mainly where they work and craft and stuff like that. So the candle making station's in there, the juice fizzer, I forget its full name, is in there, and stuff like that, fabricator. A lot of that stuff is over here from the eco lifestyle pack, and then we'll be heading over to the second part of the build. With the second part of the build, I am going to let you know, because it does end the video with this, the roofing along the side, to make room for the master bedroom and somewhat more room for the master, room for the master bathroom and some more room for the bedroom. I did try to extend the upstairs a little bit more so than the roofing would cover it. So I did put like some actual plants up on the roof. I imagine that maybe there was some sort of way that she got seeds and stuff up there somehow. And with that curved roof, it was really hard to actually get plants fully covering the roof, so I didn't do a full covering of the roof, and it was hard to actually get them in certain places of the one curve. It was really easy to get them on the very top, and then also like on the very bottom of the roof, but on that middle section of the roof, it was a little bit harder to actually do so. But I do actually cut out pretty much the whole thing. I just show the beginning stages of me putting the plants on the roof to just show that that did happen. But as for the whole thing, showing the whole thing, I did cut that out because it was a very long process because I was going back and forth trying to figure out which flowers. I was afraid some of them were going to show inside the house, which in some places they do, but not very badly at all. I didn't keep any of them that like stuck inside the house a whole lot. So that is a process that I sort of did, and that's where the video is going to sort of end off, is showing the beginning of that. So we are going to be starting to head into the more eco-style part of it, so I have the layout to go and actually filling the rooms, and we will talk about that in part 2, which I hope you are looking forward to. If you like this video, please hit that lovely like button, and if you're excited for part 2, make sure you are subscribed and have the notification bell activated so that you don't miss part 2. Let me know down in the comments below how you are liking this build so far. Are you excited to see how the second half of this build sort of turns out? I would like to hear all of your thoughts down in those lovely comment sections. And again, if you wanted to download this build, it is on my Origin, Artistic Gamer 7, Industrial meets Eco. If you forget the name for some reason or my Origin ID, you can always either tweet me over on Twitter or come back to the video and look down in the description where I will actually have the name of the build and my Origin ID towards the top of the description. Not the very top, there's like a little paragraph and then there's the name of the build and my Origin ID right below that. I also have my social medias down there as well, so like I said, if you want to tweet me and ask me something about a particular build, or if it's up on to find it on the gallery or something like that, those are down there. I only am currently like putting my Twitter, Instagram, and something else. I forgot right now, which seems bad, but yeah. Cause I'm not sure where I'm gonna go with my Twitch channel just yet, but eventually I would want to try to do something with that. But right now I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you are liking this build and exciting to see the finishing of it. I did like how this build turned out, and it was definitely interesting and a little bit different than what I normally do. I didn't even go into this build fully knowing what I was going to do exactly, just like combining the two was all I had in my head. But anyway, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!